In today's video, I stopped by Geo's Reef at Reefapalooza Orlando to check out a super silent calcium reactor and a brand new refugium light. So here we are at Geo Reef. Geo, you have sumps, you have calcium reactors, you have a refugium light, lots of things on display today here at the show. And today we're going to talk about the Super Silent Extreme. Can you walk us through what that is and how it's super silent?
Sure, no problem. So this calcium reactor is quite different than a basic model calcium reactor in that it has a saturation chamber that takes the CO2, keeps the CO2 in this chamber and allows the water to rush by the CO2 gas. And as the water rushes by it, it saturates the water. In older models, the CO2 would kind of go with the flow of the water and it would stay in a gas form. And only part of it would saturate into the water column, which then lowers the overall pH. In this type of reactor, the CO2 is stuck in this chamber, and you only waste about 5% of this CO2 gas. 95% is then saturated into the water column. The older models weren't as efficient, and you would only get about 50 to 60% saturation, so you're wasting 40% of the gas. So this saves you money, and it's just overall more efficient. The other thing is that we're now able to use a much quieter and smaller footprint pump, which is a DC 3-watt pump. This pump uses very little energy. It creates almost no heat, and it's dead silent. You can stick this in your living room with an open cabinet and you're not going to hear it. The other thing about it, it's very simple to set up. All the ports are labeled with in and out. CO2 goes in here, water goes out back to your sump here, and then your feed line or your water comes into this port. And you can see they're all labeled. So it's a very simple setup. Previously, a lot of hobbyists are very scared of just even looking at a reactor because there's so many wires and cables and they're complicated, but there's nice support videos with this, and overall it's a much simpler reactor to set up.
And you also, so with calcium reactors, you control like the bubble, the rate, and everything, right?
Normally you control the amount or the pressure of the CO2 through your regulator on your CO2 tank. So you would do that on the regulator, but normally on older models you have a bubble counter that's hanging on the side of the, so you have a visual of the bubble count. Well, the bubble counter on this is actually internal. So if you look, there's a tube inside here, and you can see the gas will come in here and then bubbles out. You just saw that. So that is how you can visually see that you are getting CO2 that's coming into it. Also, you're going to notice on your pH, you're going to have a pH probe or monitor or controller, and then you can visually see that the pH is slowly dropping. An optimal pH is normally, we usually use about 6.6, 6.5, and it does depend on the type of media that you're using inside.
So high quality build factor, I love the way that it looks, and just the fact that it's super quiet is very, very cool, very beneficial for those reefers that need a calcium reactor. So I love it. And then you also have a refugium light that you're kind of highlighting here at the show. Can you walk us through that as well?
Sure.
This is the refugium light, and you have this so it can attach basically to the sump and it can flip up and out of the way is
Correct.
Basically the idea behind it.
Right, this is our new, we call it the Crimson. This has a red and blue spectrum light. Visually it looks very red, but in light spectrums, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And so there is a blue spectrum in this. This really promotes macroalgae growth, chaetomorphas, different types of macroalgae. But the neat thing about this is you can purchase this and you can put it on either a horizontal mount like this, or you can invert it and readjust the mount, and you can make it on a Euro brace or a vertical mount. So the interesting thing is if we think about this as being your aquarium or your refugium, is that you need to get in there and pull algae out. You don't want to have to remove the whole light. And this is hinged that we can just move it out of the way. You can work in the tank, pull out your algae, do what you need to do with your maintenance, and then you can just put it back. It's got a 3D printed universal bracket, and it can take up to a 1-inch opening. So if you have a really thick Euro brace or whatever, you've got the space here to do it. And it can go all the way down to as far as you want it, which would be normally 1/4 inch. So it can fit on most sumps, most aquariums, and it would make a nice light also because we have different spectrum bars. You could use it as a nano tank light. So it works good. It can also work on freshwater tanks too.
Okay. Nice simplistic designs, keeping it nice and easy, high quality builds. And what is this light going for?
So as you see it, it comes with the universal bracket. The light, the plug, and the driver for it is $149.
Awesome. So that's the Refugium light here at Gio's Reef. Thank you so much, Gio, for talking to me.
Appreciate it.
If you like this video, then I know you're going to like this next one here. Go ahead, click or tap your screen to watch that. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.